Appreciate your taking time out of your afternoon to join us today, although I think it'll be well worth your while. We are pleased to present a second session on using AI in education. Some of you may have joined us a couple of weeks ago, um, where in which Talia did a session on enhancing adult learning through AI tools, Notebook LM, and several other tools that were really focused on sort of classroom instruction. And this one is going to take a little bit of a different focus. Still going to be on AI, but really looking at ways to help adult learners use AI to study and learn as well as in their everyday lives. So we're really pleased to have Talia Cotton back with us again. She's a literacy coach at the Millbrook Magnet High School and adjunct faculty in adult education at Tallahassee Community College, among other things, and soon to be Dr. Cotton as she defends her dissertation tomorrow. So we're really excited for her and wish you good luck with that, Talia.
Thank you.
And I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Okay, let's get started. So I'm going to share my screen with you all and move this up. Okay, and then present. So question, can you see well, I can't see you all. There you go. Can you see my screen? Give me a thumbs up. Awesome. So let's get started. So today's session will deal with helping adult learners use AI to study, practice, and learn independently. Again, my name is Talia Cotton, 19 years of educational experience, and I am still in all of that. I can say almost 20 years of educational experience, and I remember having none. So it's a little surreal. I'll be defending my dissertation on reading and technology. So I'm excited about that. I'm a frequent presenter here at Florida Literacy Coalition, ACE Florida, Florida Literacy Association, all of those things. I have a passion for reading. I have a passion for technology. And so hopefully you will see that passion today. So let's get started. I want to just jump right in. Why does this matter? Right? We are dealing with a new world that has AI at its foothold or the forefront of learning, right? Students can go in and just use AI to be their brains. And sadly, because of learner dependence, because of sometimes we say laziness, but honestly, it's just the offset task. AI and using AI to do some of the educational tasks has been something that educators are really concerned about. So we are going to look at how we can take this thing that a lot of us fear and put it in the hands of our students, our adult learners, to help them learn, right? And so we have students in adult education that juggle work, family, education all at once. Some of them need a lot of hand holding. Some of them can go off on their own and be just fine. What we want to do is provide them with some flexible and independent supports that can help them learn and learn quickly, right? And so what I have found is that AI tends to be accessible to students, especially if you have a program that's using something like Google or Gemini or some of those systems that it's already accessible. And so with some guidance, with some help, with some support, we can show our students how we can take AI and help it become our think partner, help it become a tutor of sorts, right? And so we're going to look at this through a constructivist approach, right? Where AI is not this thinking machine that does all the thinking for the student. It's not this answer generator where it does all of just provide the answers. We're using this as a thinking and cognitive partner. We're using it as a question tutor, and we want to keep the student in the seat as the thinker, right? We want we want to give them multiple exposures to the content in a variety of ways to help it kind of build neurons to have them to learn. So that's a lot of tech talk, but these things are just, when it comes to educational science, these things are really important, and they show that this is the great way to learn, right? When you're exposing students and learners to that information on a multiple levels, right? And so we want to use AI to support inquiry. So we want them thinking, we want them involved in the content, we want them questioning the content, and we want to use AI as a retrieval system, right? And so we want to build responsible use, skill building, and we want to have the students be have learner independence. So they can take this AI bot, they can take this feedback bot, they can take even Chat GPT, and they can actually learn with it. Because in the adult ed space, whether it be GED, whether it be our literacy, whether it is ESL, they're trying to actually gain the knowledge. It's not about a grade, it's about the knowledge. They want to leave knowing something. And so they're more motivated to actually use these systems to support their learning. And so we're going to look at a couple things to help with learner agency. We're going to look at an instructional notebook with Notebook LM. This, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. They're going to provide source grounded materials, what content that the teacher has uploaded is going to be a little bit more free of hallucinations. We're going to look at multimodal content. So that's that audio, the video, the visuals that can support diverse learner styles. And then we're going to look at how we can turn that AI into a feedback bot, where instead of getting feedback from the teacher, that teacher can make a bot that can now support the students, where they can use that whenever they want to revise, to get growth support, things of that nature. We know that the best way to learn, one of the best ways to learn is to teach and to get feedback, right? And then lastly, we want to look at prompt literacy. How can we teach the student to actually talk to the AI in a way that's going to give them the most bang for their buck? So let's start with Notebook LM. If you were here before, and actually, if you were here before, put some thumbs up in the chat. I'm going to bring up my chat so that I can see it. If you were here before, you were with us before, give me some quick thumbs up in the chat that you are actually here. You saw this information, you were here, and you knew a little bit about Notebook LM. I see that a couple people were here. They said that it was the bomb. So thank you so much. So when we're talking about Notebook LM is a closed system provided by Google. It's source grounded because the teacher is going to upload material for a specific topic that the students can engage with. So when we think about ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, they're just loose in the ethos of the web, right? And they can get information that's true, semi-true, or just absolutely wrong. With Notebook LM, it builds a wall around the content. You as the educator, you as the facilitator of knowledge, you are going to upload source material that's going to support your students. So you have an EL student and they need to know sentence construction. You can upload sources into this database, right? You have someone who needs support with essay writing. I see that a lot as a GED teacher. You can create them a notebook that's dealing with essay writing, or they're looking for a specific reading skill. I can make something like that. And so it can also support teachers with lesson planning and content creation, right? And so all of these things can work together hand in hand, supporting teachers, supporting students, right? And so I want to show you some things that it can do. So what you're looking at is a picture of an actual notebook, but we're going to go into it in a minute. I want you to take note of three things on this slide. Look at the sources. The sources are the material that the teacher uploaded. So for GED, understanding sales, so important. Right here is 32 sources. If you look down at the chat right in here, There are 32 sources that are talking about cell structure. So that's awesome, right? So I upload my vetted curriculum, my PDFs, my slides. I can upload some actual websites. I love to go and get some of those Khan Academy videos. All of those things are so important, right? And so then once I have that uploaded, I can now have a conversation with the material. So just like Chat GPT is just out there in the ethos, this is relegated to the 32 slides, and it will literally tell you that information is not in here. So I love that about it. So I can chat, I can ask questions, I can bring up information, and now I understand. And as a teacher, one of the things that I do is I know that my students are not doing well for something. I will ask it, hey, my students are not doing well with this skill. What activities could I do for them? So you can do the same thing you do with Chat GPT. You can do this here, and it's locked into your sources. Some other things that's so awesome, and you're going to see this live and get a chance to play with it. They make content for you, right? So you get to make content for your students that you can put in Canvas or you can put on your website that the students can use to review, to learn the material. But also, if you give them access to this notebook, your students can actually be at the helm of looking at that material and driving this scholarship, right? So I want to take a moment and I want to go to a notebook. And so what you're looking at, if you can see that on the screen, is a notebook that I made dealing with essay writing. For those of you who are in the GED field, writing an essay is one of the things the students have to do. And what I found is that a lot of my students don't understand that an essay is a multi-paragraph document, right? And so one of the things that I found is that it's just great to be able to give them this source and just let them go in and ask questions and get information. And so first thing we want to look at, sources. I can click here and add sources. They've just added a new feature where you can go and search the web for sources about your topic, and all of your sources end up here. So I have things from Harvard and Purdue, right? Those are vetted, reputable, credible sources, right? Then what it allows me to do is now I can ask some questions like, for example, what are the core elements of a strong body paragraph? I can ask it, and I want you to notice what it says. It says, analyzing your files, consulting your sources. It's going here to these 73 sources, and it's going to answer the questions. So imagine a student, they're having trouble with the body paragraph. You told them, hey, you're struggling with your body paragraph. Go on to the Notebook LM and look for here's some questions I want you to ask the notebook and get some information and come back and let's chat. And so it's telling you, hey, you need a topic sentence, you need evidence, you need analysis and elaboration, you need a concluding sentence, transition. These are standard things. What I love about this, remember when I said it is source grounded, everywhere it gets the information, it's going to tell you. So these little bubbles are my sources, right? I get this from a source. So if I click on this, it takes me right to the source where it got it from. So how to write a university essay, right there. Now, this is the part that I love, especially as a teacher. The content, trying to make instructional content, content that's engaging, content that's easy on the eyes, content that's verbal, right? All of those things, especially in this YouTube, TikTok world where things go quickly, pictures flash. I want some content that's going to be timely for this generation and the generation that I'm dealing with. What this thing does is it will create an audio overview. So it's kind of like a podcast where two people are actually talking, and they are talking about the actual content that you've told it to do. So I want you to take a moment and I want you to hear this podcast really quickly. Let's see.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut
You
to
hear that?
critical knowledge. Today, we're really distilling the core framework for essay writing, not just the basics, but more like a high-stakes strategy guide. Especially now, right? With so many universities going test optional, your essay, well, it's arguably shot up in importance. It's maybe the key part of an application now.
Exactly. It really is. That essay is your.
So notice that was two AI generated voices talking about the content in a podcast frame of mind. Our students are used to listening to podcasts, whether on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple. This is normal they're used to hearing the audio. It's kind of harkening back to when people just had a radio and people used to stay in front of the radio and listen, for those of you who remember that. And so you can make a podcast that your students can listen to learn the information, right? Some other sources that it has, it will make a slide deck for you, and the slide decks are visually stunning, right? And so while we're dealing with this, I want to quickly show you what a slide deck will do. You can just click on it and it will make a slide deck for you. And it's going to distill and summarize all of the information. Or you can go to the edit feature, that pencil, click on it, and now you can tell it what type of slideshow to make. Do you want a detailed deck? Do you want a presenter slide? Do you want to change the language? We'll talk about that a little bit more. Do you want it short? Do you want it default, right? Default will give you about 12, 15, 20 slides, right? But now you can you can ask it to tell you or give you a slide, the topic of what you want. So let's just see. I know one of the things that my students struggle with, I don't have to be elegant with this, but that an essay is a multi-paragraph text, right? That's something that my students struggle with, because what they will do is they will just turn in an essay and it's literally one paragraph with 3 sentences. That's not sufficient, right? So I can put something as serious or perfect. I can put something similar to this. I can hit generate. And now what you're going to see, as you can see, it's moving. And down here it's taken based on the 73 sources, it's making a slideshow. Caveat, slideshows take time. Once you see the beauty of this slideshow, you'll understand why it takes time. I will tell you one of the things that I do. I'm a high school teacher. So sometimes I have to get up and I teach one class of English. I get up in the morning. I want to teach my students, but my cup is empty or it's very low. I will go on my phone, make a slideshow of concepts and content that I know I want to teach my students. And then by the time I hit school, actually before, I have a slideshow that I can show my students. Also, it makes a video. So the content that you have, it will make a video of that. I can do the same thing. I can click on it, and now I can tell it what I want it to discuss, and it will generate a video. And so I have one down here, and I'm just going to show you that really quickly. Once it's cycled, this technology, it takes a moment. Give me a moment. Okay.
Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle something that's fundamental to academic life, but let's be honest, it can be a little intimidating: the essay. We're going to break it all down step by step, so you can walk away from this feeling ready to write with some real confidence.
All right, let's just jump right in with this quote from Harvard, because wow, does it set the stage. In the world of college admissions today,
So it will make you a beautiful video that you can have your students engage with. Today, actually, in my English class, we watched a video from YouTube from Townsend Press about author's purpose. Then we watched a video that I created on Notebook about author's purpose, and then persuasive appeals. And I walked them through that information. Best practices says you shouldn't just let it run, right? You should stop, discuss, and then carry on a few times in the video. So we did that, and my students actually, they love it. They just really love it. Some other things really quickly, they have mind maps, they have reports, flashcards. You can make your own flashcards by uploading some key terms. You can even ask the chat to give you key terms based on this topic and then throw it into the flashcard. You can make a quiz, an infographic. I love the infographic. I make my students analyze the infographics. That's something I've been doing here recently. And then they make tables. All of these documents, if you give someone access to it, they can chat with the material and they have access to the document. Now, I want you to take a moment and imagine a student who's struggling with writing. I give them this tool. I front load them with the topic that they need to focus on. Hey, you don't know how to write a great topic sentence? Go in the notebook. I put a video about, I put some content in there about topic sentences and how to create it. Go in there, play around, ask some questions. Here are some questions I want you to ask. Imagine a student doing that and how that can really boost up their learning. How that can give you some time to now focus on maybe another student that may need more one-on-one help, and this student can use this as their tutor and as their support. This can be a game changer, right? And so before we move on and you have some moments to play, I want you to go back here. Think about this. That with Notebook LM, what you are doing is you're creating a brain, a teacher brain, if you will. And you are letting the student drive the inquiry. And so like I said, I teach high school, college, adult ed, ENC 1101 and adult ed, right? So I have the span of classroom experience. And what I know, students will ask you every day a question about things they don't know. And even if you've provided the slideshow, even if you say it's in the notes, they will still ask you the question because what they really want is you to give them the answer quickly, right? What I like to do, okay, that same question, go ask the bot. Ask 3, the AI, then me, right? And so the student can drive their learning here very quickly, right? And so I see someone says, how are the tiles for the items in the studios created? So we'll get to that. Some other things that I want you to take note of is, and we kind of discussed it, it's multimodal. What does that mean? It's audio, it's visual, right? They make the audio podcast, the video, the flashcards, the infographics, the slide decks. All of that's there, right? These are what the flashcard looks like, right? Like, that's a lot of content. That's a lot of content for those educators who struggle with having to run here and run there, trying to find a video, trying to find a test. It's here, and it's all based on the material that you cultivated. You know this is good material and curriculum because you put it in there, right? That's giving you a lot of power, right? What I love about the fact of multimodal support, study support, is that one, it reduces the cognitive load. When a student can look at a picture, when a student can hear sound, when that sound and pictures are brought together, when they can go from a video to a podcast, to a test, to a flashcards, to a study guide, right? That gives them many options. This allows the students to watch and listen to lessons in the homework. So that way they don't have to just continue reading. As much, I'm a reading teacher. I literally have degrees in English. All of my degrees, even my doctorate, have a component of English in it. And I get tired of reading, right? And so I can imagine someone that's not their field of study being a little overwhelmed with having to read all the time. Now they don't have to. They're getting great information in various formats, right? Yes, text, but watch, listen, learn, right? And so we want to give them a way to reinforce the material in a variety of ways. That's called multiple exposures, right? Something that John Hattie said is a great bang for your buck, right? He didn't say bang for your buck, but you get what I mean. Also, you have the ability to change the language, right? And so if you look at all of this content that I have here, it's on math. And what I did was change it into Spanish. So now my Spanish speakers who need to deal with math, instead of them having to think in English, think in Spanish or read in English, put it back in Spanish, I can just let them learn the material in English, in their native language, and that lowers some cognitive load, right? And so we're speaking this in English and here in the GED class, but here I've given you some support documents that are in your native language, right? And this is they have over 80 languages in there that can support your learners, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to have some demo time. I'm going to provide you with I want to give you this link. I'm going to put it in the chat. And that link is going to take you to this document. Bam. It's Google. And I'll actually drop some of the information I need you to see in there. In there, you have the choice to play with the essay notebook, the sentence notebook, or the tone notebook. I want you to look at the sources that are in there. I want you to play with the chat, ask some questions. I want you to also look at the content that I loaded. So I'm your teacher and I've loaded that content for you. And so think about how a student who's struggling with essay writing, sentence construction, or understanding the tone of the text can actually use this to learn. And we're going to take about 5 minutes. So I love technology. Watch this. Alexa, set a timer for 5 minutes. Thank you. You can't hear her, but she's in the back. So Alexa, volume 5. Thank you. Okay, so we have 5 minutes. See, I love technology. My house is becoming a smart house. So we have 5 minutes. I want you to play. And while we're doing that, let's ask some questions that we may have, right? So let's ask some questions. I'm going to go to the tone notebook because that one it has a lot of content because I actually teach with this one, right? So I'm going to answer some questions and I'm looking off to the side because my other screen is there. The first person asked me, Kate, how are the tiles for the items in your studio created? So if you're talking about this, right, these tiles right here, they're already uploaded. Now I have Pro, so, I pay the $20 a month for Pro AI for Google. So I might have a little bit more tiles than you do if you don't have Pro. However, these are standard. Now the stuff below here, right, all the things that I created, this is content that I created by touching the slide. So for example, this right here is a infographic. Give it a moment. And so mastering figurative language, the architect of tone, look how visual and lovely that is, right? I will have my students analyze this. I'm going to go closer and I'm going to go down, right? And so in this section, I will make a chart and I will tell my students to give me a visual, give me a sentence, and then give me a keyword that helps you understand that section. And I've been having them do this on a regular basis. I will make an infographic about a particular subject, in that topic, and then I make my students analyze each piece, right? And I have found that this has been really game changing for me, right? And so in order to make the content, there's a couple things I can do. I can literally just push the button. So push as in take my mouse and click on it, right? So let's say I want to make a mind map. If I click on it, which is what I just did, at the bottom, you will see it generating a mind map. It's taking my 99 sources and making a mind map. And here's the mind map. So it's talking about tone. If I click here, it expands and gives you information about tone. I have a strategy that I make my students use. It's going to give me that information. So I can have my students work with this in some way, shape, or form. Another way, let me pull this down. Another thing that it will let you do is you can be specific about what you want to see and have in your content. So you saw that with the slide deck. If I click on the pencil, I get to tell it how and what I want it to focus on right here in that little text box. Describe the infographic you want to create. And I just describe it, and it will then hit generate, and it will create it for me. So I hope that answered your question. Let's see, we have about 1 more minute. We have 1 minute and 11 seconds. It says, does Notebook LM use any resources other than the sources you add? No. I have literally asked it questions, and it will tell me the sources do not say anything about that. So when I say it's walled off, right? Can I access this from home as well, or do I need to request access? No, as long as you have that link, right, you have it, and it should immediately go into your notebook, right? And so it is for everyone who does not know. Let me grab this link for you. This is Notebook LM. Somebody said their notebook, their Alexa gave them a 5-minute time. So here's the thing to Notebook LM. If you click on that and you're in your Google, it's going to save everything. Every time you go to my notebooks that I give you, it will save it in yours because you have access now. Perfect. And then if you don't email me, you'll see my email on the last slide. You're welcome to email me, and I will send you all those. How do I open? Alexa, stop. I love her. Okay, and so it says, how do I open the window with all of the tiles? So I'm going to assume, and then Jerry, make sure I'm answering your question. I'm going to assume you mean when I had the editor. So if I click on any of these pencils, it's going to open that editing window. So notice how it says customize, and then I can tell it what I want it to do. So anytime I press that wonderful little edit button, I get to tell it what to do. I'm going to answer a few more, and then we'll get back to the slides. Thank you. Okay. It's not letting me log in to my Google from work. Try it. Yeah, try it and do it when you get home. And I don't see an audio overview, etc. So if you go to Studio, all of the content that I made is going to be down below in the Studio. And so with Tone, I have made a lot. So let's get back to it. So I hope you had a good time playing with that, and you have access to those notebooks, so please utilize it. Some other things I want to talk about how to build independent learning. We're going to look at feedback box from Magic School AI. I love this for my college students. I've been using this for my GED students. Love this. Also, build your brain questions. I developed this to use constructivist learning theory and provide our students with some questions that they can engage with the bot in a way that's going to build learning. And then lastly, some RTF prompts. I'll tell you, RTF means role, task, format. These are some prompts you can give your students that can help them actually talk to the bot, right? So, constructivist AI strategies. A constructivist learning theory, in a nutshell, means that people learn through experiences, right? I literally have to talk about this tomorrow. So Piaget, Vygotsky, all of them, and that Berner. There are so many other people that talk about constructivist learning theory. I have applied that to best practices in AI and kind of married it, right? And so in this kind of framework, you create with the AI, right? You use Notebook LM, you use Magic School, you use ChatGPT, you're creating that instructional content. Then you have the student evaluate and critique it, look for bias, looks for inaccuracies or accuracy. You make them explore. Then you have the student analyze, right? Compare the output to the source material, right? And I want you to think about what it takes for us to learn. As I said, a constructivist learning theory, blah, blah, blah. Back up. Constructivist learning theory does this. It says that if you have multiple experiences with the content, you learn, right? So think about tying our shoes. Think about learning how to ride a bike. For me, it's thinking about how to make some good macaroni and cheese, right? I've been trying, and sometimes it turns out well, and sometimes it does not. I've given up, and I just said Chick-fil-A macaroni. That's going to be the macaroni of the summer, right? And so I still, in order to learn how to do this macaroni, I still have to try, and try again until I learn it and I know it and it's there. That's what we're doing with this model, right? We're having the student ask questions, receive feedback, right? Test understanding, reflect. Very important. Reflection on learning is very important. Verify information, and all of that is going to build meaning, comprehension, and understanding. And when we do that, learning takes place. So I want you to think about that framework, and that's something we can use when we're dealing with AI and our students, right? And so with feedback bots, it's not about the students having the AI write for them or think for them, right? It is about the student writing some type of draft or doing some type of task, and then having the AI review their work. Very important. Again, it's not about the AI doing the work. It is about the student doing the work and the student getting feedback on the work, right? So we're going to look at this in real time. So we're going to go to this link. First, I want to give you this link. This is an AI bot that I created for my students. I'm going to give you that. I'm also going to give you a document that's going to help you interact with the AI bot. So we're going to go to this bot, and I'm going to pull up the document that's going to support me with the bot. So this is from Magic School. This is something I created for my students. It asks for their name. Now, when it comes to giving information to AI, I'm not a fan of giving real names. So like you can set it up where your students will give a alias. I will sometimes just put my initials, right? I will do that. And so I put in a name, but you want to be able to identify the student, put in some type of identifying name, and join the room. This is what I love about Magic School. I want to show you what it's going to do. Use Magic School responsibly. The first thing it says, your teacher can see your activity in Magic School. That's why I like Magic School. I can go in and see engagement. I can pull up the information and I can see what they're doing. They tell you some other things. The math answers are not always reliable. Interacting with AI takes practice. It's a tool, not a replacement for your thinking. Monitor for bias and accuracy, and protect your privacy. Very important. No names, no addresses, things like that. And you press acknowledge. Now, what I find interesting, the first thing it says is the teacher can see your activity. And I will have a student, not my GED class, my college class. They will submit it to get feedback. And first it's one paragraph, then 5 minutes later, it's 2 paragraphs. right? Then 10 minutes later, it's a whole essay. And I'm thinking like, it says the teacher can see your activity, but obviously they're not taking that in. So one of the things that I put in here is a GED grader bot, right? And I did that because for GED, my students, I want them to have immediate feedback. I want them to know what that score will be. And one of the things that I tell them that they have to be the author of their learning. If they're using other materials to draft the essay, that does them a disservice because that tool is not going to be there when they take the GED. Like, I would rather them get everything wrong and we know what you need to learn, then you go ahead and use Google and you get everything right and fail your GED. So I'm really a proponent of letting them know that if you don't have this in your brain, it does you a disservice. So what they need to do is just submit their essay. It says something real nice. Welcome, I am your GED RLA essay scorer, right? They're here to evaluate it. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to grab this essay. And I'm going to put that essay, they just have to cut and paste it and put it in there. They can even upload it. So if you notice down below, there's a little paper clip. That's the universal sign to upload. Once you put that in there, this little purple button lets it generate and submit it. So they submit it, it's generating thinking, and they're going to then give me what it's going to be about, right? And so did it source text? No. Did it not give me that? So it didn't do that. I'm sorry, I gave it a source text. So let me see. No, it was the right one. No, it was the right one. So I'm not even going to technical difficulties. So what should happen is that I put in a text and it will give me a grade. So I'll go find the real text that it's supposed to have. Let me see if I have it on here. And if I can't, I'll make sure I come back to you and show you how to do that. But what it will do, as it's telling you, it's going to have the student give it feedback on trait number 1, 2, and 3. And how I got there is that I actually built that bot to do that. So let's just say that my student, I know what I'm going to do. ChatGPT. Okay. Write a brief essay about voting, 4 sentences. Okay. So we're giving it a minute to think. It's going to pull my essay, and then I'm going to throw that into the bot. So, and honestly, this is what I see on a regular basis as a GED teacher. So, going to throw this in here. All right, let me refresh. Let me refresh. Back. TC. Okay, so one of the things that it's going to say, it's saying that they want their source text. They say that it wants to read and analyze. They say that you need to give a better support by evidence. And then moving forward, the source, they need to give the source text. They need to mention the source text. They need to make sure the question you're answering to analyze, and then they need that full essay response. And so one of the things that I've been noticing when my students actually give me their bot is that it's rare. No, sorry. What I normally notice is that when my students actually give me their GED material, it's not up to snuff. And so this bot, and I'll actually go and find the one that I give for my students. So I will come back to that because technology. But I do want to show you, you can make that bot. Also, I'm going to go into my Magic School AI really quickly. Let me log in.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Doing that. So the bot, in terms of its feedback on the GED essays, do you feel it's qualitatively similar to what you would be able to provide as an individual teacher? I mean, how does it?
I grade, it's nicer than me. I figured that out. It's very much so nicer than I am. And so normally when it grades, it's going to lean on being spot on with the material that I've given it. And so most of the time when I give my students the AI bot, they're kinder than I am. However, the feedback is just great. I love the feedback. Let me go to Canvas. I love the feedback that it likes to give. It's going to give some really good feedback for my students. So I'm trying to actually get to the one that I have on Canvas, because I actually put this in the hands of my students and I let them do what they need to do. So while we're waiting for me to get in Canvas, I want to show you how I did that. In Magic School, there's something called student rooms. And in the student rooms, there's something called student rooms in the Magic Student. So if you go to Magic Student, click on rooms, you can then make a bunch of rooms with a bunch of custom bots. So I made custom bots for it. And what I did for you, did I put it in here? I have another resource that gives you a video to watch about how to do that, right? And so if you're looking at my Magic School, you will see that I made a AI detection bot for a colleague. I have it something for my students to actually go in and get support with a research argument. All of those things, I made that for my students. Let me go in here. Yeah. And you're actually going to see where I put this and how it looks. So this is my Canvas for my GED class. And this is what it looks like, my home page. And right here is the feedback bot for my students. So anytime they want to go in and actually put in their GED feedback, they want feedback from it, they just do it from there. And so let me make sure this one is a little different. Yes, I know. Okay. So I'll come back to that. Let me see. I just want to put in something quick and see if it will show you what I see every day. It's acting up. Well, normally I won't belabor our time. Normally, what I normally see when I'm grading my students and giving them feedback is I will see, they will tell me the trait 1, 2, and 3, the score. I see a lot of ones, I see a lot of zeros, and then they give me a bunch of feedback. Now, I will tell you one of the things that I've learned as a person that trains with technology sometimes act up. So please forgive that. But It's something that I use on a regular basis. It's something that I let my students use. It's in their hands, right? And so I want you to understand that that's something that can move the needle from your students because they can get immediate feedback. Some other rooms that I've used is my students had to explore culture. And I will try to see if I can show you what that looks like. This is one, it's not on our same topic, but it is similar. We're almost done with this, but I just wanted to really show you what this thing could do. So this is something I gave to my college class. It's helping them explore culture. So let's say gender. And now it's going to give me information. It's going to ask me questions. I appreciate you sharing. It's one of the things. What are your specific primary levels? So gender, female, and see how it's asking me questions, and then it's going to give me information. Now, the purpose of this bot that I created for my students is that I wanted it to actually help them think about their gender. Please complete the list. So it wants me to do the whole thing. For some reason, all the bots are acting up today. Let's go here. Candace. And then view. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Okay, so you couldn't see me do it, but this is something from a real student of mine. They had to go in and generate content. So they talked about who they were, female, 53, agnostic, all of that, right? And then they got to start asking questions to build up all of that. And then they asked them, now, which one do you want to talk about? She wants to talk about her regional identity, right? And then they started going to the sub levels, and she just got to look at it. What are dialects for people who grew up in Wyoming? She got to know all that information, and that helped her with the actual assignment that we did. So excuse the technology gaff, but one of the things that I do know that I love about utilizing this is it puts it in the hands of the student. I didn't have to do a long lesson on culture. They got to work with it right there. So again, excuse the technology blunder, but I hope you kind of get an idea of what you could do with this material. Lastly, when your students are engaging with the AI, you can give them some questions, some cognitive questions that can help them engage. So you just don't let them loose on it. Give them some structure. So you can have them have some build your brain questions, like some warm up, activating that prior knowledge, some investigations, the 5 W's and how, some mental workout that's going to have them retrieve and think critically, and then a cool down with metacognition. You want them to link the information. You want them to deepen the understanding. You want them to move beyond learned helplessness, which I see that a lot, and let their brain do the heavy lifting. And then you want a little bit of reflection. And so what you have in front of you are some questions that you can give your students to actually engage with their bot. So I already know that tone is the author's feelings, and that tone is seen through words. How does this new topic connect to what I already know? And then I'll insert that topic. Please explain, how does figurative language connect with tone? Please explain. So they're telling what they know, that's activating prior knowledge, and they're trying to see how it connects with what they don't know. That's a cognitive strategy, right? And so what I provided you with, I'm going to give you this link. Excuse me, wrong link. Control, copy, and then here's the link. Grab that document. Let me get out of here. And I gave you those same questions. Go back to Notebook LM and throw some of those in there. So, for example, what do you know about tone? What do you know about sentences? What do you know about essay writing? Insert that topic and then try to see if you connect the dots. So use any of those. New information, elaboration. We're going to take about probably 5 minutes. And while I ask some questions, use the elaboration, use the strengthen memory, use some of those. And you know it's the question because it's all in italics, it's slanted text. So use some of those. I also have another document that you can use. And this has more questions on it. Alexa, set a timer for 5 minutes.
5-minute timer is now running.
So while you're doing that, I want you to add, thank you, dear. Okay.
I'm not sure what you'd like me to add. How can I help?
Okay. So we're fine. So what I want you to do, go in there, play with your notebook, and then look at how those questions can move your knowledge. While I'm doing that, I'm going to answer some questions. So let's go back up here.
Is that for me?
No, dear.
Got it. I'll be here when you need me.
So someone says they're not seeing the audio overview. So I think that should be standard on everyone's Notebook LM. As I said, I have Pro. So I'm going to go back to Tone. Look in the studio. So couple of things. The one that I gave you access to, you can't generate content. If you want to generate content, you have to make your own notebook. So caveat. So when you're playing in the ones that I've given you, you can chat with the chat bot. You can look at the content that I made. But in order to, those of you who were here before, in order to actually make a notebook, you have to create your own, which is not hard, right? And so put something quick in there. You can search it. And so I think one of the things that we deal with is, let's see. Oh, I can do this. Authors. Ooh. No, author's purpose. Author's purpose. And I can go and look up, it's researching websites for me. This is brand spanking new. So what I'm doing is actually making a notebook, right? I'm making a notebook. And it's telling me all the things where it's gotten information from. So I don't want Wikipedia, right? I'm going to click view. I do not want Wikipedia, right? I do think that this would be a great source, and I can come over here and let it show me what the source is, right? Upper elementary snapshots. I can go through and decide if I like this or not and add that. Probably not. Breaking down the purpose, I can go through there and look at that, see if I like that. So you can search. If you do not have the material, you can search really quick, and then we're just going to import that information, right? And once I import all the sources, then I will have access to the audio overview and I can make my own material. So I hope that helps. Were these slides developed through Notebook LM? Yes, yes. So one of the reasons that I do it, and I was telling Ms. Smith that one of the reasons I've started using Canva is because I can put the slides right in here and tweak it to what I want it to do, right? And so this lovely beginning slide totally came from Notebook LM. I edited the material that I wanted it to be edited. So like the reason that I can actually write in here is because I can edit it. The stuff that I cannot edit is the stuff that I left wholeheartedly for Notebook LM, as you can see, right? So that's one of the things that I love, right? I have to know the information. I can't just, I'm not one of those folks that just letting the AI do it for me. This is something that I developed, but there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. Someone asked, okay, any questions while we have 36 seconds? Any questions? Throw it in there as we start moving on to RFT with our last 14 minutes. Yes.
Going back to the GED scoring and evaluation bot, which I think is a credible tool. When you said that the AI system is, what did you say? It was
Alexa?
nicer, I think. And then you are, when you said that, did you mean that it's nicer in terms of just the way it's making suggestions, or is it, does it not score it appropriately as far as you're concerned?
Okay, so it does score it appropriately, right? Okay. It leans on the information that I've given it. And so I've given it information from GED.com. I've given it the rubrics. I've given it the instructional material, the curriculum breakdown, all of that. And it is aligning itself wholeheartedly to that. But it does not have the bias that I have, and it does not have the experience that I have as far as being a teacher. So while it will just go straight with what the material is saying, I know that if you do this, it's not going to go well in a real GED setting. And so I will maybe grade it a little harder. I will say, hey, you need to focus on this, then that. Like I have my own biases attached to it. This thing is pure. The document said, if you do this, you will get this score. So like I saw someone who gave me a paragraph for the essay, and they received like a 3, right? So ones across the board. But I go back and we that's one of the reasons why the teacher is important. I go back and say, so the feedback is on point. I don't know if a human being would give you that score. So I definitely have them focus on the feedback. The feedback is key. The feedback is what they need. The feedback is aligned to the rubric. The scores, iffy for me personally. Okay. But the feedback is key, if that answers the question.
That answers the question. And if somebody wanted to replicate what you're doing there, how best would they be able to do that?
So I made the custom bot, and we'll have to come back, Greg, and do another one on how to make a custom bot.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a little more intricately detailed. Okay. But in a nutshell, I uploaded the material, the information. I gave it a prompt, right? I told it to take a role. You are a GED teacher you are a veteran GED teacher. The role, task, grade the GED, grade the essay based on the rubrics and source material, and then task, provide the trait 1, the score and the feedback, trait 2, the score and the feedback, trait 2, trait 3, the score and the feedback, and then give an overall summary of what they did well, their strengths and their weaknesses. That was the prompt.
Okay. Well,
and then I had them do
it. It sounds like it's a bit more complex, but it pays off in the long run, right?
It is. It will take another training, but it was beneficial. And my contact information will be at the end. Anybody who wants to know how to do that, let me know, and I'll make sure my bot is working. So please excuse that. Last but certainly not least, in order to effectively use a bot, you have to know how to talk to it. Prompts are the instructions that you give to the bot. And honestly, having a framework of how to speak to it is going to be really helpful. So RTF, deals with telling the role of the AI, who they should kind of take on the mindset of, what tasks do you want them to do? What should they do? And then how should they respond as in their format? So let's look at a weak one. Help me with math. That will work, but it might not give you the best response versus act as a patient GED math tutor, right? That's the head. That's what they're thinking, how they're going to think. Explain how to solve quadratic equations using real world examples, very important. Do not give me the answers, very important. Help me solve it step by step, and then format. Use simple language and bold keywords. If I put that in there, they're going to be patient with me because that's what I told it to do. They're going to discuss the topic in a real world way. They're not going to give the answers, right? They're going to help the student solve it step by step, and they're going to use simple language. So you can provide this to the student, these prompts, to help them know what they actually need to do, right? And so I can throw in those prompts and it can help them actually build and scaffold and have a tutoring session in that space, right? And so one of the things that I want you to think about, right, is, let me go back really quickly, is when our students are using their notebook, the chat, if they use the give it a role, give them a task, and give it a format, they will be able to go ahead and actually talk to it in a way that's a little bit more streamlined. They'll get more information. So on that link that I provided for you, I'm going to go back to this link. I provided you with, give me 1 second as we are about to wrap up. Okay, perfect. I provided you, is not this one, it is, there it is. That's what I'm looking for. There it is. So I provided you with some frameworks. So assign the AI, so act as a GED teacher, right? Define and explain the American Revolution in a numbered list, one sentences or, a 500-word article with headings. You can tell it what to do. So utilize that framework when you're talking and having your students speak with the AI bot. And actually, even when I communicate with my bot and with my chat GPT, I tend to think in this way. I think role, task, format. It generates better when I do this, right? And so we're going to put this in here as we wrap up. It says, you are ESOL sentence structure tutor. Help me understand how English sentences are built. And I'll do it from up here by explaining subject, verbs, and objects using clear language, short examples. Model creating simple sentences. Then help me practice revising or creating simple sentences. Give me gentle. So it's giving all of that. And so now it's going to have material that the student can engage with. The subject, it gave an example. The verb, it gave an example, right? Very important. And so now, and it gave a practice. This is a whole worksheet. This is a whole lesson and worksheet that your students can engage with. So be mindful of that. Now, as we wrap up, I want you to, we're going to pull it all together, right? The teacher's role is to set the structure, use those notebooks, create those rubrics, use those frameworks, provide those questions so they are not just going out there dry without knowing how to engage, those brain questions that they can ask. The student's role to do the thinking, prompting, verifying, re-engaging, reviewing in your content. And then lastly, the AI role is to support teaching and learning, right? They are not in the driver's seat. They are just helping our students think a little bit deeper, right? So I want you to think about what it can do. So a couple takeaways, right? Start small. You saw me quickly make a notebook. Upload those resources on one topic and make a notebook. Teach your students how to interact with the AI by using that Build Your Brain questionnaire that I gave you. So give them some questions. Hey, you have a student that's not doing well in math, whatever that topic is. Build that notebook on there. Give these brain questions and have your students engage with it. And then make the RTF prompting a standard. Show them how to do that. Even those brain questions can be developed into an RTF prompt, right? So here are 3 things you can actually walk away with and start doing now. Build your notebook, work with those build your brain questions, start using those RTF prompts, right? And so please remember that AI does not replace instruction. It strengthens independent practice if it's used right. And so my name is Talia Cotton. My contact information is there. I will put it in the chat. If you see something that you like and you have some questions, please feel free to contact me. And for those who are, if you have good vibes, please send some good vibes my way. I will be presenting for my dissertation tomorrow. So thank you so much, Greg. It's been a pleasure, and I will stop.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Talia. That was great. Are there any last questions for Talia before we adjourn? I'm seeing good wishes and thanks. A couple of things I just wanted to mention. We have our conference coming up. The Florida Literacy Conference is going to be May 6th through the 8th. We're going to be over in Howey in the Hills, Florida at the Mission Resort, which is west of Orlando. We'd love to see you there. So please come out and join us. I just put a link a little bit earlier in the chat with regard to the conference. Also, if you can take a few minutes to complete our session evaluation, we'd really appreciate that. This session is made possible through the generous support of the Florida Department of Education. So we wanted to give them a shout out and thank them. And we take these session evaluations and share that as part of our report. So it's important for us to get good feedback or get a good amount of feedback and provide honest feedback, of course. But if you can take a few minutes to complete that, we'd really appreciate it. So I'm not seeing or hearing any. You can unmute yourself if anybody has a last minute question. Okay. Doesn't sound like we do. So thank you very much. You gave us a lot to think about there, Talia. And we really appreciate your taking time out of your day here, a day before you're defending your dissertation. So good luck with that. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Not a problem. It's been a pleasure and a joy.
Well,
And if you want to hang around once they turn off the recording, I can show you what that bot looks like in real time if you have a moment. Can I?
that sounds great. Yeah.
Awesome.